Now, here in this video clip, you're going to see Thunderfoot talking, and he thinks he's debunked something, but he hasn't debunked anything. The great pressure of the crust of the Earth, 6 miles of it.
Great, Nev. So at the beginning we have this, and at the end we have this. Well, let's take a look at a unit cross-section. And further, let's just consider the energy that we get out of the rock mass falling this distance. So all of this junk in the middle here, that's the same at the beginning and at the end, so we can ignore it. And now our problem becomes very simple. The total amount of energy we have is the energy from this rock mass falling, and that's how much energy we can give to the water. So how far up can we throw that volume of water? Well, obviously, if it were an exactly identical unit volume of rock, it would go up exactly the same distance. That's conservation of energy. However, water typically only has about a quarter of the density of rock, which means to a first degree approximation you have enough energy to put that unit volume of water up some 40 kilometers. That's not even enough to get you into space, let alone clear of the Earth, and that's the absolute best that can be done with the energy available.
Thunderfoot, take a ride with me. We're using Google Earth at an altitude of 7,886 feet. We're going to fly across an island in the Pacific Ocean at a speed of a few thousand miles per hour. That little model you've concocted in your head.
In his head? What are you talking about? That's little more than basic math. When have you ever offered an equation for any of your bullshit ideas? Tell the truth, Neff. Can you balance a checkbook?
That you think demonstrates that the crust of the Earth couldn't exert enough force upon the water inside it to cause the water to eject with enough velocity to surpass the escape velocity of the Earth and therefore shoot into space is based upon ignorance. You see, Thunderfoot, as when the flood occurred, the ocean floors sank. We're not talking about a small amount of pressure upon water. We're talking about 6 miles of the Earth's crust forcing down upon water which encompassed the entire globe. That is why the ocean floor sank, because the water that was in the Earth, when it was expelled, the space it vacated caused the ocean floors to sink to fill that empty space.
How about a few equations, Neff? Look, Neff, I hate to break this to you, but there's a simpler explanation for why the ocean basins are topographically lower than the continents. Here it is. This is a table showing predominant rock types in the Earth's crust, starting with rocks that predominate in continental crust and going down through oceanic crust and finally into the rocks of the very lowest crust and the upper mantle. Shear velocity refers to the velocity at which certain kinds of earthquake waves are propagated through these rock types. I'd like to focus on the density of these rock types and specifically on the density of granite and gabbro. Granitic rocks are the predominant rock type of the continents, and they have a density of 2.62 grams per cubic centimeter. Gabbro is the macrocrystalline equivalent of basalt, and basaltic rocks are the rocks that primarily make up the ocean basins. As you see, the density is 2.87 grams per cubic centimeter, therefore they're considerably more dense than the granitic rocks of the continents. As we go deeper and deeper into the Earth, rocks become denser. As a fundamental characteristic of planets, and I'll get to why in a moment, the ocean basins are not topographically lower because they collapsed into a void created by the evacuation of massive amounts of water. They're just fundamentally different than the rocks of the continents. They're far more dense, ergo they lie nearer the center of the Earth. Now why is that? Well, a friend of mine answered that question some time ago, so I'll turn it over to him.
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
Classic. No way I could have said it better. Neff, with this response to Thunderfoot, you have achieved new heights of absurdity. You have walked where angels fear to tread. I give a little award away weekly called the Dim Bulb, but this video of yours deserves the Lifetime Achievement Dim Bulb Award. Everyone, give Neff a hand.
My advice to you is to start drinking heavily.